This podcast is rated R for restricted. Under 17 requires accompanying parent or adult guardian. Mission 250.
Welcome to the Mission 250 podcast, where we watch the best movies ever made, most of the time according to IMDb, although we're getting pretty close to the end of that list. We only got like or maybe a little more than 6 left to go on that list. And sometimes we try to watch Oscar movies, and I don't know. They kind of release the foreign movies at very odd times during Oscar season. Like they get nominated and you're like, I want to watch that, but then you can't because they haven't like had distribution rights or whatever. So we're coming into this one kind of late, but this is the 2024 movie I'm Still Here, directed by Walter Salles, if that's how you say his last name. This was nominated for a few Oscars. It is available for streaming now, and it's been on my wanting to watch list since I heard about it.
Yeah.
So
it won Best Picture, right?
It won Best International Film. And it got nominated for Best Picture too, which is pretty rare for international
and
films.
Best Actress,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, and it won the Golden Globe for Best Actress, but that also gave Best International Film to Emilia Perez, so who gives a fuck about the Golden Globes, you know what I'm saying? I'm Still Here, 20-second, spoiler-free review. Let's start with John. What do you think?
This film was muted. It was I sort of really appreciated how it was kind of low key in a very interesting way. I liked how it showed the lifespan of people. I found it really moving. I found it really horrifying in a very sort of quiet way, given the kinds of things that are happening now. So I thought it was worth a watch. It was a good watch. Some great acting too.
Nice. TC?
I thought it did a great job of showing the time. The 70s just looked cool. You know, there was just a lot more color back then than there is now. I thought the acting was fantastic. The score was great. Pacing was strong up until it went 25 years later. But we'll talk about that.
We talk about that. Yeah.
I think there's a lot to say about this movie. I agree with everything you guys are saying. If you like movies similar to like The Lives of Others or what is it? Shit, I can't remember the other one, but it's similar to that, where it's like a heavy drama and it's kind of quietly suspenseful, like you're saying. You should watch it if you listen to this podcast.
We're almost taking the sort of the personality on of the movie.
That's right. Just very quiet and stoic.
We're very
If
somber.
you could just see our stares,
right.
podcast listeners, you'd be moved.
I contemplated sharing this with you guys on this podcast, even though I haven't been hesitant to do it before, but I decided to. The end of this movie, and this doesn't happen to me frequently, although it does happen sometimes, I was bawling my eyes out at the end of this movie.
I did. I got tearful too.
I was sad.
I started like just really, really crying, and I wasn't sure quite why. I think
I can't figure out why either, John.
I think there was such a, and I know there's some criticism about the film too, because it sort of feels like it's stepping off when it goes into the generational stuff.
That stuff is when it started hitting me really hard.
I know, but for some reason, it really had an impact. This sense of life going on and life continuing. And
it moves beyond just like a
her
story about this person, and it's more just like, this is life. This is what happens to so many people.
To me, it could have ended before the 25 years later. And then when I got through that, I thought to myself, I mean, I'm kind of glad I got to get the wrap up, but I'm not so sure I needed the wrap up. I could have went black right at that last scene before the 25 years later, and I was like, that could have been
the help
right there.
I agree, but this is a true story, and when it ends,
right, and they had to tell it, which I realized later.
And like the whole thing is, it goes forward in time. This director, Walter Salles, knew the family. You know, the kids in the beginning that were friends with the youngest boy. He was one of the friends in the streets. The director of this movie, he knew them forever. This was like a personal project of his. He wanted to get made for a long period of time. He spent 7 years of his life making this movie. This movie is, the screenplay is based on the book of the son, who is paraplegic now. Like that's, you know, it's all just like a true story, and they just wanted to like complete the story because it's true. I guess is.
I mean, it was a little bit of journalism. I mean, it felt like that throughout. The story wasn't very much, you know, she wasn't making decisions. Things were just happening to them the whole time. But for some reason, it didn't really bother me. I mean, first of all, didn't even know this happened. So right up there again with the history, not having a clue what's going on. So that was just, you know, learning something about that Brazilian, you know, sort of, I don't know, autocracy or whatever you want to call it.
And it wasn't done in like a dramatic way or like...
It was just like something to learn. And, you know, I thought it was definitely done well. I didn't seem like they were making shit up just sort of like look at me kind of stuff. You know, it was in the story as like almost like the other part of the story that didn't quite matter as much as their reactions of what was happening to them. Going through all of that craziness. And I mean, the idea of getting sort of, I remember thinking when they were driving away in the police car, and I was thinking to myself, wait a second, so they're the government? Because it hadn't clicked yet that this government had overthrown the other one, right? I hadn't got there yet. So there was a lot of those stuff that they revealed to you that also sort of kept you guessing of what was coming next in the story. So I thought it did a great job there.
And just
a whole lot of tension.
Yeah, a whole lot of tension. Them starting with the police stop towards the very beginning of the movie just like led to me being tense the entire movie. It was basically a horror movie.
And absolutely.
It is. What's kind of it's a little weird that I was sort of relieved because I thought much worse could happen.
Yeah,
like not that what didn't happen.
Oh, well, when she got let go, you mean?
Oh, right. No. I thought.
I was like, wait.
They're gonna kill the daughter. Why are they going to kill the daughter? Oh, they don't.
I thought I missed something. I was like,
exactly.
Wait. They didn't just let her go, right?
Yeah, I was like,
apparently they did.
I was just on such edge because of that. It was a very sort of strange thing. I think just because I've seen films, a lot of these films that are about like the catastrophes. It's weird to say this is relatively contained. It's not like we.
But it's not. There was abduction, there was torture, psychological damage, murder. Right?
I get it. I'm not saying that. It's just and again, the movie does it so well and so just sort of matter of factly.
It's her. It's like her family's experience. It kind of focuses on that, and like the whole first part of the movie, I was wondering because like the dad kind of comes across like, is this guy doing something shady? Like I don't know if I trust this guy.
Right. We don't know.
It doesn't really end up that he did. The whole first portion of the movie before the abductions and or kidnappings or whatever you want to call them was just to get you living in the house with the family to make it feel like you knew all these people and
you knew them as good people,
right? You knew them as just normal, good people that were trying to live their life.
I mean,
and
if I were to find
this story really lands if you don't know the history that well.
I can bet. I bet. Yeah.
You know, it kept you guessing the whole time. Yeah. I mean, and I will say that the ending where it all changes at 25 years later and all that. You know, I'm assuming the movie was supposed to be something about the human. You know, like getting through. It's like a testament to the human spirit and how you don't give up and you don't. You know, you just keep going and things turn out the way they turn out, no matter what. And I guess that wouldn't have come through as much if they hadn't done it. I just couldn't believe it was 25 years later. I don't know about you guys, but I have to talk about that right at the top.
Pause.
Like that switch to 25 years later. I mean, it's not like it's like, hey, 10 years later. Like, I can get that.
As soon as that happened, I had to pause and collect myself because I was like, I can't handle this right now. I need like a minute to transition.
Like, wait. We have to do more of this?
And then what's going to happen now?
And then there was another one after that. Yeah. I couldn't believe that. I was like, wait, there's more?
Again?
That last shot of them taking their family photo was something. I mean, it was impressive. It was impressive, and it tied it all together because their whole story was all about film, and they were using video a lot or to film a lot in their story to convey like the daughter being away, and just some of that stuff has like photography within photography. It's kind of like a meta thing that they were doing, but I would watch it again. For sure. I would tell people and say, hey, I'll watch this with you because it's that good. Just be prepared for some weird jump.
The jumps are, I think the jumps are jarring in the sense that the film is so smoothly done in those time frames that it is in how one thing moves into the next and moves into the next and it's just so I don't know if there's a better word than smooth. It just feels so natural. It's just like
it does.
Very subdued and natural. And this is just happening, and then this is happening, and we're over here. And it just so when you get those time jumps, it is rather jarring. Just because
like holy shit, 25 years.
The tone of the film is not to jump around at all in those settings that it's in.
Right.
So when you do a big time jump, it's like whoa.
I think that's part of the reason it works because the way it comes off is we all know old people. Some of them have horrible stories. Some of them went through really hard times. That happens to a lot of people. It's really hard as someone who didn't experience them personally to kind of understand what that was like to go through. But then once it shows this whole experience kind of front to back until they leave, right? It's kind of just like it starts a little before it happens and then it goes through the entire thing almost in a completely linear fashion. And you get to experience it with them. Like all of this, it's not the same level they experienced, obviously, but like the way this movie is made, it's seriously tense. and you don't know what's going to happen. You're confused. You're hoping you'll make the right decision, but you don't know. You don't know if, like, where you're going. Like TC was saying, it's good not to know the ending of the story, because I didn't know who was going to die. The mother wasn't enough of a main character for me to think that she wouldn't die. I thought she might.
Right. I agree.
Yep.
Because
you didn't know what could happen.
Right.
Any of the, and that's the point.
Especially when they were torturing them all.
Right.
I mean, I was like, this could go anyway. They could kill any of them.
And that's the point too. Is like not only do we have the awfulness that did happen, but they have to deal with the horrible uncertainty that anything can happen. Just about anything can happen, and they really was fucking conveyed to us as the audience that's where it's like we're right there with them, of this total tense uncertainty that's happening right now.
And even there's like a variety of people in the movie where some people are like, should we move? It seems to be getting pretty intense. Like, no, this is like a temporary thing. It's fine. And people just trying to like justify it to themselves.
It's like that meme with the dog on fire.
Yeah.
Right? That's all
Everything's
fine.
fine.
Everything's fine. These people are getting abducted left and right. You guys are sticking around. I mean, there's
hanging
something
out
wrong
on the
with you,
beach,
right?
trying to like not freak out and have a good day. And when a bunch of like army trucks drive by with people in the back. And
I will say that annoyed me a little bit of the mother. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, come on, you seriously going to just go along while this? And then, by the way, you don't think that you just watched that story and they were kidnapping everybody, and then now these guys are in your house with guns that they might be kidnapping your husband too? I mean, like, there just wasn't much common sense with her sometimes in the beginning. But once, of course, that all changed when she got abducted. But still,
But it's common sense for us. This is back in the 70s. We don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah. Her performance.
And I thought about that.
Just astonishing too. Like it reminded me of, I think maybe it was Anatomy of a Fall. Like it's like quiet, but there's a lot going on. Like with Sandra Hüller in that film too. Like it just is like there's just, she does this intensity and how she's trying to hold stuff back from her kids, or what should she say, or what should she do, and how she's managing that. And it just, man, again, just it lets you be there with those feelings. Like it just feels, again, very naturally, like feeling exactly what she would be feeling, but also giving you a sense of her character and her strength.
Yeah, she's a freaking hero. She comes across as a hero just because of how she acts around her kids.
And she makes a couple of bad choices, but that doesn't, negate from her being awesome, right? It makes her like an authentic character.
Yeah, the movie doesn't grandstand how she's awesome either. It just lets it sort of, again, very naturally happen what she's doing. And there is one, they do repeat the thing that is, it's not really grandstanding, but it's a part that is subtle like the rest of it, but it really hit super hard. Was they do it 3 times. The first, it's kind of at the end of each of the 3 timelines where they're getting a family portrait together and the people from the paper want them to be sad, and she like laughs and tells them all to smile. That, and then they do that again towards the end where they're smiling, and then again, like, each time she's smiling. I mean, that's like kind of, before that it was like, well, this movie could just be a true story, but then it like starts like actually wrapping together some themes. Like, okay, it's just proving like say something about the human spirit. Some people can like really withstand tragedies. I can't imagine doing what she does in this movie. No.
Agreed.
And it's where, like, in retrospect, it then the film becomes more than about the story, and then the jumping, even though it's strange at first. Like it was, again, I didn't quite understand why I was really moved, but I was. I
felt a real passing of time. I felt like there were years lost because you felt like I was living with this family for so long, and then one that showed the main character mother as the old woman. That's when I burst out crying, because I was like, it was just a weird emotion of like.
Well, when they switched the actors?
I thought it was her. I was like, this makeup is amazing.
Sorry, so I had the opposite effect on me. I started laughing. I was like, they got a different character.
I thought she looked exactly the same. I thought it was amazing.
Did.
No, it was a totally
it's
different
her
lady.
actual mom.
I know, but
I couldn't
doesn't matter. I knew it was
more.
someone else.
I thought it was her, and I thought it was the best makeup I'd ever seen, is what I thought.
Oh my God. I was like, that's not her. What did they just change? I see. Okay. Low budget. What are you going to do? Because she also didn't look 70 when they were.
No, she's like 8. She was like
when they cut the
85.
first. She was like 90 by the time we get to see at the end. But yeah, I don't know, man. I kind of chuckled.
But there's that subtle hint too, like that they did too, where they before they do the other shift where she's counting the money and she has trouble, like, because she ends up
the little Alzheimer's
and
flag.
that was like, I was like, oh fuck, that's when they did the time jump. I was like, oh shit. Because I knew it. It's just anyway.
Like she's gone.
Yeah. And again,
almost.
that is. I get it just makes the movie about more than the story, the way it does the jumps and shows this, and I think that's really special in terms of, and maybe part of the feeling, like you said, Denny, maybe that's catching why the emotion was there. You feel like you really were with this family the whole time, and then as time jumps, you get this real sense of time going by and people moving on with their lives.
And this not being the most important thing in their life, right? Because there are things like when it shows the kid in the wheelchair, you're like, oh, something else really important happened, and they're not even going to talk about it.
Right, and they never really really
so
talk about it.
So it's like a bunch of other
Okay.
things
I was like,
happened
shit,
in their
what
lives.
else
So
I
like this is
missed?
one portion, just because it's awful and it happened.
And it was traumatic.
Yeah.
But it's not
But he
the only
moved-
traumatic
and he-
thing.
and
It's all
also-
traumatic, but there's many traumatic things.
Yeah.
And immediately, like, you see how he is like moved on. The film does this nicely. Like, they show that he's a famous author now, which he is because he wrote this screenplay too. He
wrote the
dived
book.
into a
He didn't write the
shallow-
screenplay.
Yeah.
Just,
Or no, sorry, they wrote the book. Right, sorry. He dived into a shallow pool when he was 20.
Yeah.
And that's how he got the injury. But again, it's. I think that's just it's magnificent. And the more I think about that, just to do that on top of the story as it was.
It's touches
But
like
to
that
also-
only exist in true stories, right? It's kind of like the little touches like that you wouldn't think of to put in a fiction
Or
story.
you wouldn't think to fight for when some asshole's like, hey, you should probably edit that part out, that part out, that part out.
It's like, why do you even put that in there? You want a backstory to that, right?
Right, like, because it fucking happened, asshole, right? Yeah.
It doesn't add to the story. Take it out. What? I don't want to rent a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Take it out. All right, fine.
Yeah. Well, everyone's got a wheelchair. That's the poor man's dolly.
It's cheaper than a dolly.
Wheelchair is okay.
Wheelchair and a guy holding the camera. You got a dolly, but
Sounds like a skateboard.
Just ask Sam Raimi.
cinematographer.
Oh, I've seen it all, my friends. There's plenty of ways to fake a dolly move.
I just picture Sam Raimi chasing Bruce Campbell around in a wheelchair with the camera on a stick.
It's a good idea.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, and you have to agree too. The visual style of this was just cohesive.
It was simple and extremely effective.
Oh my god! And the way they
The editing, too.
showed the 70s, and then the way they showed the later years, they were all in their respective styles. Yep. And so I thought they did a great job there. Which for me, as one who likes these kind of movies, that goes over so well. If you can keep us in that sensory visual spectrum and then have some good score underneath it, I'm doing good. Yeah. I'm having fun.
I think part of I noticed how it was definitely shot on film. Like the film grain was there, and like a lot of the flares you get for film were there. And then going from the handheld camera that one of the daughters had back to film was like, if it was digital, it wouldn't have worked. Right?
It wouldn't have been smooth, right? It would have been a little more jarring.
And it just looked so nice. It's just soft and I don't know.
And the clothes, the colors of the clothes and the colors of the posters and the way they decorated things, it was all like reds and browns and that type of stuff, kind of autumny. 70s was a little autumny as a colorblind person.
Love that. So, that's a great way to describe it.
70s was a fall decade.
It was.
Fall colors.
It was fall for 10 years in the 70s. Yep. But it was all nice, and all the kid actors were really amazing, I thought.
They were great.
Like, it's really surprising to have so many kids to not have, like, it felt like such a weird lived-in movie. I don't even know how you make a movie like this, because it doesn't feel like there's scenes that are kind of conveying specific things. A lot of the scenes you're just conveying that these people are living in this area.
You're hanging out with them.
Yeah,
you're just following around, hanging out with them. Which again, we love that style when you get that sort of realism kind of thing. But this was doing it. Again, just pointing it out. Yeah, like so you're doing it with all these different ensembles. You're doing it with kids, not just one kid.
I know, which is even more.
You're following. You got a whole bunch of kids around.
Outdoor
Outdoor scenes, moving to indoor scenes,
and it does serve a plot purpose because like all their sports playing and stuff like that. Once the house starts getting kind of invaded with all these people, then them running in and out of the house, it's like that was planned. It wasn't. They didn't just randomly film stuff, throw it in the movie like Richard Linklater does, and it's like, yeah, it's a movie because they improv the whole time. No, it's like they had to have planned it out to a certain extent, but it feels so natural. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Oh, and it kept it so tense for the viewer because we know that they don't know.
Right.
And I love those moments, because then, like you said, John, you're really in the movie with them because you're in the mom's head And this, the young girl comes running in like, what the fuck?
And they let them leave, and then eventually they don't. I'm like, what are the rules here? What's happening?
And then they don't. I know. And then and it just ratchets it up.
And the mother's like, hey, you guys want a
time,
sandwich? She was like trying to get on their good side. You guys want lunch? Huh? Maybe you don't kill my husband?
I insist. Let me make you a grilled cheese with no butter.
That's how you do it. I one complaint almost though, and this is maybe just because I'm not used to that sort of thing, is everybody just seems so happy and getting along so well early on. It seemed a little unrealistic.
That's true.
Families are never this cohesive.
It adds to the contrast when you see the tension.
They don't all like each other that much. Come on. There's at least one of them that hates everybody.
Yeah, come on.
There has to be.
There's at least one weird relative that everybody's putting up with. I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah. No, they were all very close and very good friends, and life was good.
Yeah,
it seems so. According to everybody that worked in this movie that knew these people, because a lot of the kids still are around. It's pretty true. The way they were like interacting with each other then and now, they're still pretty close, especially after the kidnapping.
Jesus, yeah.
I mean, how could you not be? I mean, you've bonded by that trauma. Forever.
One of the most intense scenes in this movie was when it's in like the middle time period towards the end, where the two youngest siblings at the time were talking about when they realized their father was dead.
When did you
bury him?
That
was heavy.
Yeah,
right?
That was heavy.
Yeah,
that was
one
real
of them was
heavy.
like,
and that was the little
the
one,
two
right?
littlest
So that's
ones,
even more like the poor thing,
So the boy was like, when the mom
you're
was
almost
selling
better
clothes
off dealing
a year
with
and a
it
half,
later,
in the future. And he asked the girl, and he's like, well, I think I realized when we were leaving the house. Then you look back at the scene before where she was like staring into the empty house, crying on the steps, and you're like, shit.
Yep, you were there. We were there for that, right? So it again. Yeah, it's pretty masterful how they were pulling.
You got to think being a little bit older would be easier to deal with than the little kid was. I felt bad for her, which when they hit that line, of course it's her, right? Because it is. I mean, damn. Now that I'm thinking back on it, that's fucking awesome. That's like that really does drive it home, right? When the youngest one is the one remembering in the worst way. Like the other ones have moved on a little bit in the way. This guy's in a fucking wheelchair. Life sucks, right?
Right.
But she is like still going through it because she's in her early 20s and she's reflecting on her family, as we all do when we get that age. Man,
and
some good
really
shit.
Good. And I love
some
the line
shit.
too, where they're interviewing the mom later on in the movie too about like, should we still pursue the criminal charges? Like, what does it matter anymore? And she's like, well, it's not only like if we don't pursue it, then people will continue to do it with impunity, but also like this has caused psychological damage to everybody involved. And like seeing the kids' reactions.
I went to college to come after these people, is what she's saying to the kids, right? I became a lawyer to fuck with these people and to get this other thing figured out, okay? So we got to keep going.
Yeah. The decision to become a lawyer.
Also, they glossed right over that.
Oh, yeah. Skip past. That's all boring. You don't need to see that.
Person became a lawyer after all that. I mean, Jesus Christ. That's a story all in itself.
But not this story.
Yeah, there's a lot they gloss over at that 25-year jump.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe they had more of it filmed and then they had to like cut it way down?
I wonder. I don't know.
Fuck it, let's just jump time.
You can imagine maybe they
not.
did.
I mean, it's a pretty good edit point of them leaving the house.
That is true. And
if they tried to get more in there, how would they possibly have? I mean, they can't put. There's got to be so much story between in the next 25 years. It's probably just easier to like chunk at the end.
Yeah.
Wheelchair, law degree.
It was a good light. I did not feel like this movie got boring or dragged at all.
It was kind of slow, but honestly, the tension. I was kind of looking, like watching it, and being like, this is more than anything. The fact what John said, and we haven't really touched on too much, is this movie is topical. There are situations where people are getting taken by ICE agents and deported out of the country. It's fucking happening, and the fact that this movie is touching on it just made it scary the entire way, which if you're scared, then it's not boring, right? If you're tense, you're engaged.
No, I would say that it was a little bit slow up until the guys showing up to the house.
I thought I was tense as soon as they it was right in the beginning when they got stopped by the police.
I knew the theme of the film. I knew that it had something to do with things that were going on during the dictatorship. So I knew that.
I didn't.
Yeah, there was already a sense of this happy family is about to get messed up somehow.
They get fucking screwed.
So
all I saw was the poster and the title of the movie, and the poster is her, like the family is happy, and then she is sad and looking in the other direction, and it's called I'm Still Here. So I'm like, everybody but her is going to die.
Right.
Is what I thought.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Would have been.
Nope,
yeah.
they just had that in the movie.
No, I was
That
surprised.
she was
Again,
up
yeah, that's what I sort of had to have a mind of that. This is going to be awful. This is, I mean, not that it wasn't awful, but yeah, I wouldn't have been surprised if a lot more of the family were like disappeared or whatever, but holy shit. Or, yeah.
I'd be hard pressed to think that anybody would watch us and be like, this movie sucks. So I think that's, and
that's coming from somebody that laughed at the grandmother and not cried their eyes out. That's
I laughed. I thought that was funny. I'm like, that's a different actor. I'm like calling it out.
I was like,
instead of
where did the
They've been
years
great
go?
in the theater.
Dude, it's because
That's
for me
not
the movie
her.
stopped. The movie ended. I was like, scene when you know what I mean? Like for me, it ended before the 25-year split. Everything after that was resolve in my mind, and I could have done with or without the resolve. I wouldn't have noticed a difference.
No, I mean, I can't. Can you think of another
if I
movie
didn't
that
see
is
it,
organized like this? It's pretty odd.
Isn't there? I mean,
it's like a movie, and then there's the resolve
I'm sure you've
that's
always- yeah,
separate,
yeah.
but it's
It's
still
kind of like
heavy
you watch
hitting
with the
because,
directors and the filmmakers in the crowd, and the movie ends, and then they all get up on stage and like they explain to you what happens afterwards a little bit. And you're like, wait,
right.
The
It
epilogue.
did seem disconnected, because it is disconnected, right?
Yeah.
Something else happened much later, and that is the death certificate. So
They
that's
get-
all they
yeah.
wanted to get to, right? Is that it's like, but then that's the feel good. That's the feel good resolution. Is that there something came out of it? It wasn't just all for.
But
naught,
also, so
you
not
know?
only like the result, but also how the mother continued to fight, and like
Right.
continued to smile,
Right.
continued to get an education throughout. And even when she was like losing her mind, the scene when she was watching the television and the news story came out about it, and you saw the recognition in her eyes, like that was highly satisfying.
Yeah. And
It was
moving.
It was
Yeah.
because she
She did
yeah.
it.
Fuck
She might be
them.
gone. She might not be
Right.
able to recognize her kids, but like,
I thought, honestly, I was like, is she going to die right now? Is she gonna die? Are they going to kill her right now? They didn't do it. They didn't do it. I might have killed her right then, She's like,
that would have been a script note if I was a script note writer.
That would have been
that's good.
that'd have been a comedy. I don't think we're going for a comedy, man. I don't know. It seems like
I laughed. You cast a different person as a grandmother? That's funny. I don't know about you.
I thought it was funny. I don't.
That's really crazy how you thought it looked so different. I thought it was the spitting image of the person.
It like clicked, and I was like, different woman, and that's all I could think about.
I gotta get glasses, apparently. I don't know. I thought all the kids looked like her too. Like the casting for the kids, when they were all lined
did.
up, I was like, yeah, that looks about right to me.
I absolutely.
Yeah.
They look like
You
so.
both-
And
the
God, they
young and
fucking
the old.
acted like it.
Yeah.
Their banter back and forth was so real. I mean, I don't know. They did a great job as just being kids, which I can't imagine being easy when you're having someone like say,
Smoke a cigarette. Tell your little brother you can't have it.
All that, right? Score. We haven't talked about score.
I
What'd you
thought it
think?
was great. It was minimal. It worked really well. They showed so many cool posters and records of bands that I love, and they didn't play that music. It got me a little sad. I was like, "Where's the King Crimson? Where is that? Where's
the T-Rex?
Where's T-Rex?"
They didn't want to pay for it.
Yeah,
I'm
but
sure.
the music was
Maybe,
really
but-
good. It was like I'd never heard a lot.
I
of
thought it was good. They had like weird percussion, then they had some piano, and then it would be strings, and it would kind of meander through these different, world music styles.
And the Brazilian soundtrack music was really cool because I hadn't heard any of that, but it was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
cool
That's
70s music, like psychedelic rock and roll type of stuff.
One other thing I did want to mention about the sound was that the on location sound just sounds great when it's all recorded well, right? Like it sounded very little ADR. It was all in the room with them. And, even the backgrounds you could hear, they set up microphones in the same room, and it was like you were in there with them, and it really does a lot. When you can
It
get
had to be because of all the background
set
chatter, right?
sound, and it's great.
Yeah.
Then there was background chatter. There was some backgrounds that I was hearing that like I was like, you could probably add that in, but I'm hearing her echo back there, so it sounds like the same recording because it's but different distance.
Really helps put you in the place for sure.
Yes, it does.
Like the immersion just gets kicked up. If it was ADR, this movie, is one of the things that totally would have kicked you out of the experience probably. If it was digital,
yeah.
if it was
100%.
ADR, it would have suffered gravely.
It absolutely would have. Right, you wouldn't have been able to make this vibe, I guess, if you didn't have that sort of on set location sound. If you're not doing sound on location, you're missing out because ADR only fixes so much, and it kind of ruins the feel for some of these indie styles.
It's tough though, because like this looked like a real house. Actually, they filmed it in a real house. I know that for a fact. It was not in the same neighborhood as they lived in, because their original house was demolished in the 80s and built into like high rise or something. But they found a similar house in a similar location in Rio de Janeiro. So it was all filmed in a house. And I think part of the reason a lot of people don't do on location sound is because you don't have a real house. And to build a set, you're not going to build it with real wood. It's not going to sound good like a real house would, right? Filming in a real house, it's not going to sound the pretty same. Unique.
Right.
Yeah.
And it requires you to have a good sound guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it requires the crew to shut the fuck up. And it requires all of the kids and everybody on set as actors to stay in character the entire time you're shooting.
And do what they're supposed to do over and over
even
again.
if you're in the background, like eating a sandwich or having a conversation, like you're in the movie. You're being picked up. You can see the back of your head talking in the kitchen, and you can kind of hear the dialogue in the background. So like, don't fuck it up.
No, I thought they did a great job. I think it made the movie a lot better just by being immersed in the sound. So,
and it's funny because we're talking about all these
huge
complicated things the movie does to work, but like the way it comes off is simple because like the camera doesn't move. The editing is not entirely flashy. It's kind of like it's linear, and when it's not linear, it like serves like a purpose. Like there's a scene where she goes in and she has the money and she gives an envelope to the their maid in the house. She doesn't say anything, and then it cuts to the maid packing her clothes, and then it cuts. And that's it. Right. You're like, oh, she paid the maid, and the maid's gone. Like we don't need any dialogue to talk about this. It doesn't need anything flashy. It's just like unmoving camera, show this, show that, next scene. It does that a lot too. Pretty
The transitions are simple, but they're effective.
Yeah.
And the score also like is quiet a lot. Like there's no score in good chunks of the film, which again also really helps, I think, too.
And then there's like a percussion of like 4 toms or something, and you're like, that's it? Okay, I like it.
Just a little sprinkle.
Just a little sprinkle of percussion, and it really goes a long way.
The scenes where the guys were in their house made me extremely uncomfortable. Like
yes, I agree.
And they're like, we're gonna go to sleep. You're like, you can't go to sleep with these fucking dudes in your house.
I couldn't believe that. There's like 6 dudes in here.
That was when she was like, "What do you stay with the children?" It's like, no, you should all sleep in the same room.
Yeah, right, exactly. See, that was one of those moments, John, where I was like, really?
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, I think it was because, so I had the same thought, but then it shows her staring out the window. So like she didn't want to stay up all night with the kids because then the kids would be nervous. So if like she sends the older sister in the bedroom, then they can all kind of go to sleep and she can like stay up.
Gotcha. Otherwise, she'd be freaking him out.
And she
anyway.
went downstairs in the middle of the night anyway. That would have woke the kids up probably. So he was planning on being active.
She's probably kind of guarding the door anyway. So.
Yeah,
good point.
Because I had the initial thought too until she started moving around and stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense.
All right.
Yeah.
She plans. She's doing the best she can. She barely sleeps.
Yeah.
The scene of her like asking how many days have I been here, and I'm like, I think it's just been one day, and the dude's like 5. I'm like, oh shit. All right, we're kind of moving here. This is not good.
Yeah.
Some of the better scenes, like the prison scenes, are similar to, I don't know, what is the Seedless, whatever the heck we just watched, the other foreign movie? V for Vendetta is another one where they're in prison, you know?
Oh, I don't know.
Sacred Fig, the Seed of the Sacred Fig.
Oh, the Seed of the Sacred Fig.
There was some like prison stuff in there that was kind of creepy, but this was creepier.
Well, that was the prison, like the interrogation stuff. You're right.
Right.
It was pretty creepy. Yeah. Yeah. This was again the they would show you them like mopping blood off the floor, and just kind of not dwelling on it too much either. But holy shit, that just added to so much tension too in terms of various like screams and stuff that were going on out there.
Mm-hmm.
God. Yeah. It was bad.
No, we got the gist.
Yeah.
They're torturing back there
and killing. That's such a fucked up thing. You just like decide to throw people out of a plane in the middle of the ocean. It's a pretty fucked up thing to do. Yeah, I don't know. Shooting someone in the head, it's like, yeah, that happens all the time. But taking someone in a plane, throwing them out of a plane, fuck that.
I feel
that's like a lot of effort just to
I feel like that's what
drive
they're
home
sort
the
of
point.
implying, because they there's several scenes where she's swimming out in the ocean and a helicopter's flying overhead. It sort of feels like they're
I didn't put that together.
It's sort of nodding to that almost a little bit, maybe, and maybe not. But it's like that. There are at least two separate scenes where she's the first, certainly at the beginning, And it just sort of, yeah.
And then when she gets the news about the death certificate.
I didn't quite understand. So the husband was like, he wasn't doing anything. Well, it might have been illegal, but all he was doing was kind of helping people hide, or he had friends that were helping people hide, and he was passing on news stories to foreign nation websites and newspapers and things like that. So nothing violent, but like going against the government.
But still against the government.
Yeah. But I didn't quite understand the book process in the prison cell when they kept like adding pictures and changing pictures, and the fact when she first went through it, she was like, I don't recognize anybody in here. And you're like, wait a minute, your fucking husband's picture is in here. Why did you skip? Like, are you so nervous that you like couldn't think and you skipped over it? Or what are you trying to do here? I don't really understand.
And what are they trying to do though? Because like she's in the book at some point. Is it just psychological warfare?
I think so.
I mean, is it?
Because like they wake her up and they're just like, they try to catch you lying or something like that. Like they make you say your name every day. They make you repeat things. And if you change your behavior because you're exhausted and you forget to lie, then they think that that's the truth or something like that.
Or maybe they get her to break and just start saying who is coming to her house, and that's what they want to know. They just want her to maybe point out some people they didn't know were coming to the house, and so if they really mess her up enough and get her to just start talking, maybe she would start pointing out some other people that they could then go get. I don't know, but they're maybe just trying. They knew that they were like a group of people that were helping. They may not have known who they were, and so they just knew that her husband was one of them, and they were trying to find more. And so this was maybe the way to just try to get some more faces out there, and just mess with her.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
but I think I could go with that. Yeah, that works.
But they also, I mean, not surprisingly, they might not have been the most competent of people either. And
really?
Not really knew exactly what they were doing, or and
I mean, that's why you feel like that one guy that was semi-nice to her.
Yeah.
Was he
didn't want to be there?
I thought he was being nice until the end where she was getting released and he's like, I didn't approve of this. And then she leaves. I'm like, wait a minute. You wanted her to stay in prison?
But he was nice in the sense. No, he didn't approve of the treating of her.
He didn't approve of any of it, is what I thought.
Like, I didn't, like, you're about to leave. He knows that she's about to leave, and he's trying to say to her, hey, just want to let you know that I didn't approve of any of this.
Well, you didn't help, bub. You didn't help at all, did you? So fuck you.
He did give her information, but it would put him in the crosshairs as well, I think, if they found out. I don't know. And then, so it just seems like everybody was stuck doing whatever they wanted them to do, whether it was be a jail guard or like... That's some crazy shit. Yeah. Like I never even heard about this shit. Like, the idea of like that happened not too long ago. I mean, fuck. No wonder why we're not in a good shape these days. It wasn't too long ago that things were worse other places.
About to get worse here.
I'm about just like thinking about how easy that would be, right? Get kidnapped and then nobody would know.
Well, that's happened.
They put a name in they put a fucking newspaper story out. What are you supposed to do?
Well, and back then too, it's like getting. They didn't have. Information didn't travel so quickly either. So, like Denny was saying earlier too, it's like they could just say, what? No, we didn't do that. We didn't hurt him. And it's going to take some hard journalism work to figure it out or to spread word around about what did or didn't happen.
Even when they fuck up, like they took his car and she went to go get his car. You think they would destroy his car, right?
Yeah.
You would think, but
or
they
just
don't
go and
give
park
a shit,
it back at the house in the middle of the night or something like that. Like, what was the plan with the car? Did they just have all these cars in their fucking parking lot?
They might have.
But they're doing it with hundreds of people or whatever, so they're probably pretty disorganized. They probably didn't. They're not going to sit there and they're not systematically doing this. They're probably sort of.
The spreadsheet out. Bob's car needs to go back to Snow White Lane, and Johnny's car over there. We're gonna crush that one. We killed him. Check that off the box.
That's right.
Like, I can see what you mean there. Anyway, that's a tough one to watch, man, but a good one to watch, and one that I would watch again.
Oh yeah, just a really well-made film. I want to see. So the
is there any trivia?
Yes.
Well, yeah, but I want us to. We should put this on the list to see sooner or later. Is see Central Station.
I was going to recommend it for next week if we're up for it.
Oh, well, that's kismet, right?
So Central Station was a 1998 movie, and there were like 5 Brazilian movies that were nominated for Best International Picture. That was one of the 5. Also a Walter, this director directed it, and he directed The Mother of the main character in this one, and the mother got nominated for an Academy Award. Was the first first person to ever get nominated from Brazil for an acting award, and her daughter is the second person. There's only ever been 2 people.
That's pretty damn cool.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be really good. It's got an 8.0 on IMDb. It's supposed to be good. So
let's go.
Yeah, that was
all right. Well, that was easy enough.
Yeah.
Trivia.
Yeah.
Trivia. Let's see here. There's not too much trivia, so it'll be quick. There was a thing called the National Truth Commission, where the president in the mid 2010s of Brazil, let's see. Oh, not doing this fast, am I? Yeah, basically the National Truth Commission was legalized by one of the presidents of Brazil to make public all of the military documents from this period of time because it was all hidden. Like they didn't have all this information. And since all that was released, that was the reason why the son, Marcelo, could write the book, because he didn't have enough information to do it at the time. And when they released it, it was right around the time where the mother was dying and had Alzheimer's for, I think she had 15 years, Alzheimer's for 15 years by the time she died, which was a very long period of time, but he still was able to get some information from her. They were able to like get some of her story out of her during that period of time, and then kind of matching it up with all these released government documents saying like what actually happened was how he created this book that this movie is based on. Wow. So good on that president. That president ended up getting impeached because she was taking bribes from foreign governments. Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, hey, her priorities were right sometimes.
Hey, as long you can be a criminal as long as you're not a dictator. Come on.
Yes. Well, and they had another, like, the Bolsonaro guy, or I'm saying his name right, who was elected, and he tried to stay in power just like in 2023. He tried to have his own coup to stay in power and tried to take over the military, and he ended up not succeeding, but it was close. So like so they almost like went back to a dictatorship in there, and his supporters like stormed the federal buildings calling for a coup, and there were military officials that were testified that showed that he had tried to plan this coup with the military to keep himself in power, even though he'd lost the election.
Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
And
hashtag 2028.
Round 2, here we go.
We make it that far, yeah.
Yeah, right. 2028.
We'll see. Yeah, but anyway, it's just scary because this guy was very Trumpy as well, and so was a supporter. And there was even some far right groups in Brazil that were trying to boycott this film unsuccessfully. But it turned out that this film was massively successful in Brazil too, which is awesome.
Oh, I mean, fucking A.
Yeah, you can get a lot of pride watching this movie, I would imagine.
Depends on who you are,
right.
I guess.
We already talked about it. So a lot of these things. So yeah, I guess we went through a lot of the trivia already. The last piece of trivia is that they filmed a decent number of crying scenes for the mother, kind of show her, and I don't know, show her crying, I guess, to show like emotion and stuff. But in the editing room, they took all those scenes out because the mother never cried in reality. So they had like a realization of like, why would we show her crying when the whole point of this story is like, she didn't.
It's the resilience. Right.
She didn't. She held it together this entire time for her family. So like, we're just going to take all that out. So she's never going to cry in the movie.
And then they kept it in right at that restaurant scene or diner scene because it's like she finally realized that her family unit is now just her, right? Because she was looking at the
they're eating ice cream and stuff. It's like she's just keeping, yeah.
Right before that, you mean like when she's in the...
Yeah, she kept it. She had her eyes welling up with tears, and it was the only time I think
that was so
happened.
brutal. It's like you just learned your husband is dead, and you're gonna go fake having fun with your kids at an ice cream parlor.
Right.
Jesus Christ, pretty insane.
Brutal.
Yeah, this guy hadn't made a movie in 13 years before this movie.
Whoa.
So
what happened?
I don't know. This one took him 7 years to make. I'm sure the pandemic didn't help. He also, the one I had seen from him is Motorcycle Diaries, which came out in the early 2000s. I don't know if you guys had seen that.
That one, yeah, no. I know, but it's gotten very well reviewed, or it's very, I don't know. Somehow it seems that movie seems like lots of people thought it was really good.
Yeah, it was the talk of all the artsy people in college back when it came out. which is where I was.
That sounds about
You gotta
right.
watch it.
Which is why you were involved.
Hey, wait, you want to go Central Station Motorcycle Diaries? We'll see.
We can see.
2 in a row? Why not? I mean, shit. We're running out of
This one's
numbers.
got
so
Gael Garcia Bernal in it. You know that guy? Whatever happened to that guy? I like that guy.
who's he?
He's
Where's he from?
he was in Amores Perros.
Oh yeah, whatever happened to that guy?
Whatever happened to that
He
guy?
give up?
I don't know. I haven't seen him in a long time.
Huh? Yeah, me either.
I'm kind of glad though, because Naomi thinks he's really
shit.
attractive.
Yeah,
well,
all
that's
the
even
girls
better.
do.
Get
Are you
off the
kidding me?
fucking screen.
Every single woman in the world
Yeah.
does.
Right. But yeah, I didn't even know that he had City of God right after the Motorcycle Diaries, right? So
Who did?
this guy did. He
Which guy?
directed City of God.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh wait, no. He was just the producer. Excuse me.
okay. I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
we gotta
looking-
take that out.
God damn
All
it!
right.
Way to go,
I'm
John.
looking at the Wikipedia.
Leave
and
the
just seeing
trivia
listed.
up to
Sorry.
Denny.
But he
The thing with trivia
sorry.
is you got to check to make sure it's right before shitting it out of your mouth
I
from the internet.
know. I'm sorry. You can take that out. I'm sorry. But anyway,
It's all good. I might leave it in.
Hey,
It's
you
funny.
never know.
you leave it. He was just a producer. It's fine.
All right, we're going on a Walter Salles, and I have no idea how to pronounce his name. I'm sorry. How do you pronounce?
All
All right,
Brazilian
well, we're
names?
doing that. So which one are we doing next then?
Central Station,
Central
1998.
Station. Okay. All right.
Going on a
I'm
director
down.
kick here, guys. Director kick.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
And we're forking the list.
Yeah.
You know, we're finding new ones to put on our own list.
And before you know
That's
it,
right.
we're going to have the new Mission Impossible movie to do. We're going to have that new horror movie Together
Hey.
to do. We're going to have that movie Friendship with Tim Robinson in it.
Okay.
That looks pretty good.
All right.
I got a whole list, guys. I got a whole
We
list.
got a list. We got a whole list.
We'll never finish it. We'll never get to the 250.
Well,
Yeah, well,
I guess, does this one deserve to be on the top 2?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hey, if anyone's out there, thanks for listening.
There you go.
Never say that
You know
anymore,
what?
you know?
That's true.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
we
for
appreciate
listening.
it.
Yeah, we do. All right.
All right. Talk to you guys next week.